Dr. Homebrew is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
All right, everyone. Thanks a lot. Here we are again, Dr. Homebrew, back on the air, here to talk to you about your homebrewed creations, otherwise known as
Homebrew.
Contaminated beer. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, Lee, homebrew.
Homebrew. Yeah, no, we're not talking about your beer.
We're not talking about my beer. Oh, my God.
Or mine.
My beer's terrible.
Yeah, you keep telling us that.
It's terrible.
Maybe it's a good thing you never bring it.
We start a new show called Dr. Horrible Brew.
Yeah.
Where we feature all JP's beer.
Yes, all the time. It's just my beer. That's all it is. Right. I don't know what my problem is. I think because I don't care anymore. You really have to, you really have to give a shit if you're going to have a hobby. I've realized that.
And yet you run this show.
Do you drink the beer?
Well, so
I feel like the show is maybe more of a hobby than the home brewing.
Exactly.
Yeah, you think so?
I mean, he could do Dr. Horticulture just as well.
Yeah. Does he brew good beer? No, but he's got a great personality.
Yeah. I've got a green thumb. I don't even have that. I kill everything I plant.
That's because you dipped it in the salsa.
That's true.
Because you dump your beer on it.
Now I'm hungry for
Turns
salsa.
green.
Yeah.
Too late. You're
Me
stuck.
too.
You've got an hour before you can have salsa. You may not have the salsa.
Bev just ate a giant dessert. I want salsa.
Is it salsa ice cream?
I love chips.
Chips are the best. Whatever. Anyway, here we are once again, Dr. Homebrew. Before we get into it, though, I want to thank our sponsor, 5 Star. You can go to 5starchemicals.com and learn all about what it means to properly clean and sanitize your homebrew. There is no, clean, sanitize, same step kind of a thing. You got to do one step and then the other.
Yeah. What are their safety products?
Safety products?
Yeah, that's what it says in the intro.
Oh,
Safety and cleaning.
They have gloves and boots and aprons and goggles and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you can get fully outfitted because you don't want to star sand your eyeball.
Sanitary nose rings.
I think so. Yeah.
For those who want to sport them.
That's true.
Yeah.
Full body condoms.
Yeah, it's a whole thing, man. They got a whole line of personal safety products.
Yeah, actually, a lot of nose rings are stainless, so it's probably
true.
good there. They can be autoclaved and put back in place.
Or they're bone, if you're like one of those weird hipsters.
Yeah, that's a different story.
That's a different story.
Or an aboriginal.
Or an aboriginal, yes, thanks.
Difference being...
Bev says from across the room.
Sorry.
It's all right, Bev. You did great. Okay, so we have a cool show lined up. We have Ernie in the studio, right? There we go.
Yeah, I'm actually here.
Hi, Ernie. How are you, buddy?
Doing great, thanks.
Well, I said the name because I'm terrible at names. I don't know. My psychologist says because I don't care about people, but that's not true. Whatever his name is.
Or hobbies.
And then you didn't say anything. I'm like, fuck, I fucked it up.
Well, no, I go by multiple names, too. So.
Oh, okay. Are you Steve also?
I'm Steve, and I'm also Ernesto.
Okay.
Ernesto.
Bernadette?
Yeah, it's like Tootsie. It's very crazy.
Right.
And I assumed he was Canadian because he brews in metric.
And he's really polite.
Yeah.
So, Ernie,
that,
your
yes.
beer is the base beer is a stout, and
of undetermined character.
Yeah, Lee was grilling you before the show started, and you're like, I'm not going to commit.
What kind of stout
Which is probably smart.
Well, that's what happens when you've gone through 2 marriages. You don't like to commit.
You don't like to commit, and that's true.
So
we
can
can learn a
know
lot
if
from you.
if it's a dry stout or an RAS.
But then you have coffee and chocolate added, and then you aged it in a bourbon barrel that was once used for maple syrup.
Yeah, so
what's wrong with you?
This is an experiment.
Yes, I think so. It's a pretty good one. How do you get... First of all, I wasn't aware that maple syrup was aged in barrels.
There's a whiskey company up in Woodinville, Washington, that takes their small bourbon barrels, 8-gallon size. It is hard for me to do those conversions in my head.
Yeah.
30 liters.
Okay.
And then after they use it for bourbon once, they put maple syrup in it for 6 months. And then they sell them off to people like us.
And they sell the syrup.
And they sell the syrup.
Bourbon aged.
Take it the syrup, make pancakes flambe, I guess.
Oh my gosh, I bet that's great.
Serve it with some pecans.
Now I want to try some. Oh, now Bev's hungry again. Come on, Bev.
So where do we order that?
Lee's house, I guess.
I'm not even kidding. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to try and whip some of this up this weekend.
There you go.
She's driving
Make
up
some
to
bourbon and
Woodinville.
some maple syrup. Make pancakes. Get some pecans.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Some
Cool.
good imperial stout or something to go with it.
Bring
Maybe
some
some of this.
on the
You bring
next
some
show.
extra bottles with
I brought one extra bottle. You can take it.
Awesome.
See? There you go, Lee. Things are coming up Lee already.
That's
They'll
right.
keep, right?
Mix it into the batter.
Yeah, they'll keep. Yeah. He'll make them tomorrow, and then he'll bring them in on the next show. It'll be fine. Yeah.
Perfect.
And then we're going to talk to Peter Munoz, home brewer extraordinaire, about peach
just fly on
sour
the wall.
ale. Or
Yeah.
just fly on the wall, yeah.
Yeah, just that. Just fly on the wall.
Just fly on the wall.
Pretty much.
I like Munoz fly.
No.
Like the old Brendel fly thing.
No.
I like it. It's what it is.
No.
I'm not changing it.
Fuck you.
That won't help.
Not yet.
Wrong show.
Yeah, wrong show.
Almost.
But Peter has
Yeah.
has a pretty good peach ale. Actually, it's extraordinary.
Thank you.
And it's sour, of course. And we're going
It
to
is a
talk to
sour
you
ale, yeah.
about that.
Okay.
And the guys have judged it a little bit, and mainly because it's hard to get a clean tasting sour beer, which is kind of an oxymoron, I guess. But you seem to have done it, and you have this pretty nice balance. And so I want
I
to
thought this was clean.
check it out. I think it's but then again, I drink my own homebrew, so
Yeah,
well, I
that's
know.
true.
Right.
Okay.
I'm partially impartially balanced towards contaminated beers. Sorry, Peter.
No problem.
But I think that'll be fun, right?
It should be.
Yeah.
It will.
It's Peter. He's always fun.
Peter's fun, man. Peter makes some good beers, and we're going to talk about him like
I
he's
was
not here.
going through random shit in my garage the other day, and I came across some pictures of Peter and I at NHC in like
Oh, yeah, that was-
2008.
That was
Like-
a long time ago.
or
That was fun.
was it NHC or was it NCHF?
Probably NCHF.
I get my N
And you have
festivals mixed up. Yeah.
actual photos, like film developed.
I
printed
I
out
printed them
photos?
out for my homebrew club at the time just
You
to show
are
'em
old.
how much fun NCHF was. So
Was that the really
we
long
get
night?
More than just 5 people to go, or whatever. It's like,
Okay, yeah, that was the really long night.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember that one.
As opposed to just
Part
a
of it.
long night.
It was a really long night.
Yeah.
epic.
You know, you had a
Yeah.
good time at a homebrew event where you have to define which night was the really long one. Because they're all really long, right? Or usually.
No.
No?
It was a long night.
Well, that's what I
Was
mean.
this-
Like, most of
I
them
don't
are
remember-
pretty long, but this one
barely
was
remember coming home.
spectacularly
epic,
long.
epic Dead Palette Society.
Yeah.
Yes, it was very epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife was very unhappy that trip.
And then 9 months later, George came along.
No, he was there. No, he was there. He's
Yeah.
always been there.
She was unhappy the next morning because she had
Yeah.
to take care of him by herself.
Oh, she had 2 kids.
Yeah, she had 2 kids.
Yeah.
One was very
One
sick.
of whom was sick, and the other of whom was filling a diaper at that point in time.
Yeah, he was still in diapers
I'm not
at that
sure which
time.
was Peter.
Right. One was filling a diaper and the other was a
It
small
was my
child.
kid.
Yeah.
After that night, yeah.
That's probably like the good thing about traveling with a kid and your wife because you have just a supply of diapers.
Right.
There's no excuse
Yeah.
to put. You can't.
We
Why wouldn't you
always
put
have-
one on?
We always
Nothing to
have
hide.
clothes.
Isn't that what it is?
So if you get dirty, we could, change your clothes.
And always
Got
have
white,
wipes handy.
clean wipes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing,
This is,
Peter.
this is turning into
Liquids.
the session.
We could use some of those supplies
Yeah,
here.
that's
This place is like a pigsty.
It is.
That's right. We should all be required
Dirty
to wear
table.
diapers the moment we walk in.
I think we really should.
People peeing themselves.
You know what I really need is those underwears with the carbon
wasn't me.
filter on them.
Oh.
Because I'm real gassy and I'm trying to hold it in, but I don't want to hold it in, but I don't want to like burn everybody out.
I'm sorry, those are a thing?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Oh yeah,
They have another kind where you can filter your own pee so you can drink it, or
like in Dune. Yeah, I need a biosuit.
yeah.
Okay, we're gonna take a break because I think Lee is
Good thing. I'm
ready
getting
for it.
nauseous. I got to go throw up.
We're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to be talking with Ernie, Ernesto, Steve, whatever his name is, about his barrel-aged stout. It sounds pretty cool. I'm actually really excited
I think his
to
other name was Daniel.
drink that thing. That's right. We're just naming him everybody in the studio because, why not? And anyway, we will be back right after this. Stick with us.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Games.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states, plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Beer tasting games that train your palate, a brewery locator, and the brand new interactive beer style guide. These are just a few of the awesome things you'll find on craftbeer.com. The style guide is a beautiful example of technology in beer. Browse beer style families or turn on the automatic beer style finder and explore beer through color, bitterness, ABV, aroma, and flavor. It's really the coolest way to explore every beer style besides having them all in front of you. Go to craftbeer.com and click on Beer Styles to start the guide. Plus, enjoy the rest of craftbeer.com, the Brewers Banter blogs, beer education, how to host a beer tasting, and the invaluable Draft Quality Manual. Tons of great content that makes your beer better. Visit the new craftbeer.com right now and explore the website that brings you all the passion, camaraderie, and creativity of the craft beer community. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer. Your brewing water can be a mystery. If it's good enough to drink, it's good enough to brew with, right? We all know to perfect certain styles of beer, proper water chemistry is vital. But running water tests can be complicated and expensive, but not anymore. Industrial Test Systems is proud to introduce the new Smart Brew water testing kits, incorporating the exact iDip Smart Photometer system. The only photometer on the market that harnesses the power of the smartphone and runs water tests without you doing a pile of calculations. The iDip features two-way Bluetooth communication with the brain of the system, which is its own multilingual app. This allows limitless possibilities, including lab accuracy, free upgrades, test customization, over 35 available, mobile sharing, and more. You can keep a detailed history of your results. Email your water report to other brewers or share it on social media. Visit smartbrewkit.com now and learn more about the iDip photometer and all the tests it can do for you. Now, back to the examination.
All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, love that music. So pretentious. You know?
That's pretty good.
It's like something's actually about to happen.
Something cool is about to happen. It always happens on Dr. Homebrew. It's the coolest show.
Like beers exploding?
On the Brewing Network. Yeah, on the break, a little gusher, but that's fine.
Owls flying across the room.
We did good. We did good. Our trauma team, got towels.
Successfully prevented an exploding bottle from cascading down the 2 or 3 dozen jacks feeding into the back of the mixing board that was about 6 inches away from it.
Prevented Justin's precious board from being zapped.
Okay, we have Ernie, right?
Yes.
All right, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Perfect. Thanks for coming in. We always like having people in the studio.
Oh, it's a lot of fun to come down.
It's a good time. So how long have you been homebrewing, my friend?
I have been homebrewing for 12 years now. The first 10 years, I brewed maybe once a year with a buddy who taught me, Bill. And then the bastard moved to Utah.
What a dick.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And so I had
now he's stuck brewing 3-2, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
May he be cursed with 12 wives.
When he moved away, I bought my own brewing system and started brewing myself. And I brew about once or twice a month now.
Awesome. All grain, I imagine.
Yeah, he had an all grain system to start with. He had a more beer sculpture. It was gorgeous. And I continue to do all grain right now.
Cool. Wow, sounds
you bought
great.
a German system, huh?
I did. I bought a Braumeister.
Oh, there you go. Those things are badass, man. I played around with those when I was at More Beer, and they're great.
They are really nice.
Yeah.
The beer you guys are judging today is kind of an experiment, but I had some really nice ones. German Weizen that went into the second round of NHC that everybody loved.
Oh, great. How did it do in the second round?
37, but it didn't go on any further.
That's pretty good, man, right? Mm-hmm. For the second round beers,
when you get those,
37 and you don't go through, that's a heartbreaker, man.
Like, well, somebody else brewed a 40-plus point beer and...
Exactly. Well, the real heartbreaker was the 42-point beer that I brewed in the first round that didn't go through.
Why is that? Tell me, remind me why that. I mean, I know why, but I forget why.
Well, you can get less experienced judges in the first round. Sometimes, you end up having. You involve all the judges you can when you're organizing a round of judging for one of the regions, and you're not bringing in a lot of novices, but there's going to be a lot more apprentice and recognized judges. In the
first
as opposed
round.
to certified national master. But in the first round, and everybody's at NHC judging the finals. You're sitting across. Oh, there's Gordon Strong over there. There's there's Piatz. There's
all these homebrewing legends.
Yes.
Okay.
And sometimes there's just bottle variation when it's a different bottle.
They even let me judge there. I don't know why.
So, but if it's a 42 and doesn't go through in the first round, it just because there's beers that are higher than that?
Yeah. Stiff competition.
It's not because of Best of Show?
Well, it was a mini Best of Show thing, so...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be.
So, mini Best of Show judge just didn't like it as much as the first round. That happens.
Let's hunt him down.
Nah.
Shake him like a
I'm
baby.
okay. I've done a little judging now, so I'm somewhat sympathetic to the plight of the judges.
Is it me, or are there more people getting into beer judging?
Yeah, there are more people getting into it. It's actually been pretty popular for people to try and do the last couple of years.
Okay, good.
I know I've done a few classes, and it's like lots of people want to get in.
Yes, and we'd like to see one of you guys do another class. I'm trying to take the test in December, so...
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
So, Brian, that's yours, I think.
That's mine.
You're up, Brian. Okay, so tell me about this beer. We talked about it a little bit, but what prompted you to go for a maple bourbon barrel aged beer?
Well,
did you run across that on a forum or something, or how do you come up with that idea?
The same bastard who moved to Utah decided he wanted me to brew a barrel aged beer, and I had never done any barrel aged stuff. I'd thrown some wood chips in some beer occasionally, but I'd never actually done a barrel.
Yeah.
And so he bought me a bourbon barrel, and he was looking at the website for buying the bourbon barrel and said, "Hey, maple looks really fun. Let's throw that in too."
Throw him a monkey wrench.
Yeah.
And so he threw me the challenge of finding a beer I could put into that barrel, and I kind of took some ideas from the founder's Kentucky Breakfast Stout.
Okay.
And it isn't a clone of that beer by any means, but that kind of gave me the inspiration.
That's
and
your starting point.
Put together a recipe based on that.
Okay. Awesome. Well, let's get into it. Lee, why don't you Why don't you take us to heaven here, buddy?
To beer barrel
Steer us
heaven?
into port here, Lee.
Yeah.
Wow, this is just metaphor city here tonight. All right. Let's throw the monkey wrench in with the monkey still holding on. So there's one thing that made it a touch challenging formally to judge this beer was he said it was a stout, but didn't say what kind.
Yeah,
so,
non-committal.
Non-committal was the word, yes. So which is fine. It's great for drinking and enjoying. Gives you lots to talk about. If you're going to judge the beer, though, usually if you have a style you're shooting for, your interpretation of is this beer to style or not, which is a big part of the judging operation, you know what to shoot for. If you don't, you kind of leave the judges guessing. So this might impact your score a bit because I initially thought, oh, this is like an RAS with all that stuff. And then, no, it's more like an American stout or maybe a foreign export. And then after talking with Ernie about the recipe earlier, now it's probably more just like an oatmeal stout, but it's about a 1090. It's like an imperial oatmeal stout. Which, okay, I mean, it's great. I can see that, but I wasn't quite sure how to peg some of the stout characteristics of that. So, but, whatever. Here's what we got.
Knowing now what he didn't know then...
I'll say what I knew then.
Lee adjusts on the fly. Watch and marvel.
No, Peter's sitting over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so aroma in this guy. A big initial dose of coffee, which persists pretty well. Mm-hmm. I got a spicy hot pepper note, kind of a green pepper, chili pepper aroma in here. Some chocolate emerges in the nose and a low bourbon note. And some hints of wood and vanilla in there as well. The appearance, it poured a large tan fine foam, which persists pretty well. Black in color, almost opaque. I could just barely see my phone light flash through it. So it was just barely not opaque. In the flavor, coffee, sweet, green and slightly hot chili peppers again, lower notes of cocoa, roast ashy bourbon wood, and vanilla. Sorry, my handwriting's not always the best here. And I got a touch of maple there as well, which gives a nice sort of hint, a nice little subtle touch in there. It's a nice balance. Hops are low, pretty much out of sight, just playing a supporting role. There's a grainy, woody, mineral, almost astringency in the finish. Very low, though. This is not a big issue, but it was something that I did notice, which isn't very nice, but it wasn't very big. Other than that, the finish is dryish and complex. All the different so it's interesting. All the different specialty flavors, the coffee, the bourbon, the wood, the maple, they all come through here. And for the most part, the coffee is fairly strong, but it's not over the top like it is in a lot of coffee beers. So that was nice. The bourbon, the wood, and the maple were all kind of nice touches, subtlety, balance. So that was actually, I thought, pretty well done.
Yeah, they were segmented, yet they kind of transitioned from one to the other. And then in the finish, I get some of that wood pushed through, and then some maple, and then kind of some barrel stuff again. And
yeah, a lot of it just sort of comes through in the finish. Exactly.
Coffee.
Yeah.
And then coffee after that. It was very fluid that way.
Yeah, like coffee.
Like coffee. Like coffee is fluid. Or like wood. Wait.
You have to work to make that fluid.
I'm not very good.
Yeah, you're doing fine. Fluid wood, why not?
Thank you.
I mean, why not? Medium-high body, medium to medium-high carbonation. A bit on the high side, perhaps. Not too bad, though. Not hot, though definitely alcoholic. Has a roasty, woody, minerally character, which lends it a bit of astringency. Not a lot, but it's there. I thought it was kind of to style as a lighter foreign export stout or as an American stout, but not a hoppy one. Which I guess from what he related to us today as a high-gravity oatmeal stout, it's roughly that territory, but probably boozier. I thought it was a very tasty stout. Manages to balance a long list of specialty additions in a pretty appealing and subtle manner, almost. The odd thing about this was this bell pepper, chili pepper flavor I was getting. And that is something that I find in a lot of coffee beers, and even in some stouts without coffee, although sometimes I wonder if they're just not declared. And I don't know exactly where it comes from. I think it comes from how people process the coffee, but I've read so many different theories that all contradict each other. It's hard to make real sense out of what's actually doing.
I think it's because if you use any sort of the bean itself and not make the coffee first, it also has to do with the roast level.
It might.
If you have these kind of lighter to medium body roasts,
those theories are out there.
You get you get that, because I can get that flavor in actual coffee, like a Kenyan, like a light roasted Kenyan, who has a little blueberry, but it can get that green green pepper.
So
thing
it might
too.
be a light roast coffee. Well, what sort of coffee did you put in?
I did 2 coffee additions. I did one coffee addition at the end of the boil, which was a Sumatran coffee, and then I did another coffee addition that I cold pressed coffee and added it to secondary, and that was Kona coffee.
Okay.
I've heard everything from adding it before the boil to dry beaning it will get you this flavor.
Yeah,
that's everything pretty much.
If you use did you use the actual bean itself?
No,
like
I ground both of them. Both of them were ground.
But you added the coffee, not the solids.
In the boil, I added the solids to the boil.
That's where you get it from.
Ground. So maybe that's where it's coming from.
That's where it comes from.
In the secondary, I did not add the solids. I only added the cold pressed coffee.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guarantee.
That's interesting.
All right, JP guarantees it.
I guarantee it.
That's another theory. I think we should make it a mission to really hunt this one down. Actually, and give a solid answer for this.
Coming from a pseudo coffee background, that's what I've been able to chase it down, and I talk about that on the session all the time. Whenever anybody comes on with a coffee beer, I talk to them about how they do it, and 9 times out of 10, it has that coffee that flavor because they're using the actual solids with, or it's a lighter roast coffee.
So you would say avoid solids and avoid light roast.
Yeah. So the Sumatra,
from something green
cold press, coffee press, do that, or like a double strength.
What's your coffee cred?
I worked at Starbucks for 3 years, and then I started the coffee brand at More Beer, More Coffee.
Oh, well, there's some cred.
I did some cupping.
Are you not supposed to say you work at Starbucks?
No, I loved working at Starbucks.
Oh, no, okay, great.
Yeah, I used to. I don't do that anymore, clearly. No, I loved it. I recommend working at Starbucks for anybody in their 20s.
Actually,
it was amazing.
They treat their people pretty well there.
Hell yeah,
I'm not
they
a
do.
big fan of the coffee, but yeah.
Yeah, you get Benny's part-time. It was great.
It's much more fun than hurting beer judges.
You can buy into the benefits program only as part-time.
Okay,
yeah.
Right.
It's pretty good.
That's excellent, yeah.
I thought you were talking about some kind of a pill.
Yeah, they don't just give you benefits.
No.
You got to buy them?
Yeah, I know, right? The entitlement is terrible. But so when I started, there was a lot of coffee training off-site, but now it's kind of all in-store. They've kind of solidified it. But, we had a lot of pretty good, rigorous tasting. And then working for More Coffee, I got to go to some bean suppliers and do a lot of cupping and flavor, classes and spider graphs and all that kind of shit. And just kind of, and then home roasting coffee, you play around with a bunch of crap.
It is fun tasting coffees side by side. There are huge differences in the flavors you get.
Yeah.
Were you able to get that green pepper flavor from the coffee?
Sometimes you can pick it up in the aroma when you do cuppings. You can break it. You break the cap. So basically, you just put like coarse ground coffee in a cup, and then you add water to it, and then you let it sit for like 2 minutes, and you break all the grinds float to the top, and you kind of push them away and smell, and that's that first initial dose of pungency of aroma that you're going to get. Sometimes you can get that with a lighter coffee or an inferior coffee sometimes too. So
you're saying I shouldn't have bought my coffee from Safeway?
Well, what brand was it? I don't know.
No, it was actually Pete's.
Oh yeah, you did fine, I'm sure. But I mean, seriously, try it again, but just do the cold press, and that's now that you've.
So by putting it in the hot side at the end, at the end of boil, that would have caused that.
That's what I think. It's the organic matter.
Solids in the hot side.
It's the solids, not the liquid. Put the liquid in. Do a double strength. Because if you just make an old pot of coffee and you put it in, then you're watering down your beer. But do a double strength. Throw it in there.
Right. So this has already paid for itself, and we haven't even heard from Brian yet.
Right.
Well, look, I'm 90% sure.
Okay, but the second side of this was don't use a real light roast because it just has more of that flavor. So you probably even get it in the cold press.
It's acidic. Also, there's the lighter flavors I think don't transfer over as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I've actually been curious about this one because I encounter this a lot. And I'm not always quite sure what to say about feedback other than change your coffee processing habits. But that's not helpful because it's completely unspecific.
Yeah, I guarantee you that if you talk to the people every time you get it, they will say, I put the solids in the beer somewhere.
Or they use a real light roast.
Yeah, but I think it's more often the solids.
Well, I'll see. I'll have to go back and read some of the stuff over. I think some of them weren't doing that, but yeah.
Do it.
All right.
Let's pin it down. I'm interested.
Like a bug.
Yes. Like a fly on the wall.
Okay. Anyways, in the end, I thought it was a nice beer. The pepper and green pepper was kind of off-putting, and a little bit of that astringency wasn't quite what I wanted, and I wasn't quite sure what kind of a stout it was. I gave it a 31. I could see scoring it a bit higher if I had known it was an imperial oatmeal stout, because it actually would fit that pretty well. But this is actually a pretty decent beer, and I really enjoy the kind of interplay of flavors from all these interesting additions that you put in there. It's just that peppery thing was kind of off-putting to me. So do you get hot pepper when you do that too?
No, green. Okay. Like the green bell pepper is what I always get out of it.
Yeah, that's the flavor I get too. But yeah, we're putting laser focus in on this peppery thing, and it's a minor element of the beer. It's kind of medium light in the aroma, and it's in the flavor. But there's a lot else going on with this beer, as Lee did talk about. I'm happy to sit this out because he did describe the beer very well. I can just shut up and say,
sure, just run. Yeah,
I agree with Lee.
There you go.
But yeah, I got moderate roastiness coffee up front with that medium light peppery note in there. It did have a nice vanilla shining through there too, and you could definitely get some of the barrel character. And I did get a hint of the maple, and it's a sweet smelling beer. The aroma was pretty inviting, even though the peppery thing was a little distracting, but had no DMS or diacetyl, no bad anything there, and it's got a very low booze element. That was pretty subtle. Like the vanilla comes through more strongly than any kind of bourbon, Again, didn't know what style to judge it as Lee said, but we just went generic stout and tried to guess. I just kind of looked at the American Stout guidelines and went through it that way. It's a pretty beer, deep black. Only the faint brown highlights you can pick up if you hold it up to the light. Seem pretty clear when you look at it that way. Fine bubble sticks around pretty well, and nice looking beer. Flavor big and sweet. The malt and coffee and cocoa light notes come through. Pretty smooth out roast character overall. It's either like it tasted to me like it's been aged for a while, or just some of that roast kind of aged out a little bit. It has this kind of tangy acidic impression to me from all the acidic malts in there without that roast to kind of balance it.
Like there was ashiness, but it's kind of more subdued, ashy.
It's faded, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a really intense note.
Okay.
It's like that tangy acid just floats off your tongue, and then usually expect that roast to come through and smack it in the face and bite it away, but it just kind of hangs in there, a little more acidic flavor. Probably it's as acidic as it ever was, but yeah, but it does have a little bit of kind of a cream-like thing, which I thought was pleasant, balancing with that, and a low maple note. It's just like there's so many things going on in this beer. There's a tiny hint of bourbon in there, but and if you'd overdone that, it probably would have killed the whole thing.
What's another flavor you could pack into here? I don't even think you could. I think it has a specific capacity for flavor, and that's it.
You could put hot chili peppers in it.
Yeah.
Yes, but I think
a little cinnamon.
But I think then you would detract from some of the other flavors. Like I think he's found every flavor that he could cram in here and still have it segmented
Maybe some pecans.
out. Yeah, maybe, yeah.
It's got a
some
little
lactose.
The aftertaste in this beer is just like it just keeps going. It's like a little muddled with all that's going on in there, but it's pretty rich and it just kind of hangs in there, and that vanilla kind of sticks with you, and just keep tasting different things in there. Yeah. So body wise, it seemed kind of medium full bodied, and I thought it was very creamy mouthfeel, medium low carbonation. Unlike the one bottle that kind of exploded on us here, that one was high carbonation. But this one, then we got another good sample here that Ernie, Ernesto, Daniel, Steve brought for us. So that one didn't gush on us. So And I blame JP for any bottle handling issues.
I think you
on
should.
The show.
I mean, honestly.
Because he handled that bottle an awful lot, to be honest. Yeah, in case you missed it, our first bottle of this we opened tonight was a pretty good gusher.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. It was the whole thing about the
throwing the
back
towels.
of the mixing
The
board.
thing,
yes.
yeah.
Never
Yeah.
mind. Edit that out.
He was
Done.
Yeah.
Never happened.
A Sasquatch came and handled that beer. You missed it. Anyway.
He injected magical CO2 in it through the wall of the glass bottle.
Yeah.
There are a lot of good flavors in this in general, but some of them are kind of fighting with each other, and there's a lot of sweet, chocolatey, coffee-like flavors in there. The roast, I'd like to have a little bit more of that. Just have it bump up, and I think it would balance a little bit better. It's gotten aged out, and if you're going to intend to age the beer, maybe give it a little bit more of the darkest malt in there to keep that edge. And if you're declaring a booze in there, you do want to taste it maybe a little bit more than it is in there, but I wouldn't want to go too crazy with it. Just a bit more could make it work better for what's declared. But again, I would just try, just cold extract with the coffee to get less of that harshness, less of that
I think that's it.
peppery character.
I think it is.
That'll help a lot. How long was the beer aged? I gave it a 32, by the way.
32. Okay, great.
Okay. Bottled it in April. It was brewed in December. Went through primary in about 2 weeks, and then it went into the barrel for 50 days.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah, and I was
like 5 months.
Exactly.
It's about. No, it's 2.5 month and a half.
In
Almost 2.
JP time, 5 months though.
Yes.
And I used a Vinny nail to taste it every once in a while to see how the oak character was coming along.
Oh, the stainless nail.
Yep,
kind
exactly.
Of, how far from the bottom did you put it?
2/3 up.
Okay.
And note to anybody who's doing that: don't get it right near where the stave meets the other stave.
Oh, at the seam there, yeah.
Right
get
at
it in the
seam.
center of the stave head.
Move it over a little bit. And so bottled in April.
Okay.
A couple other notes, though, especially from what Brian said about the roast. One of the things I tried this is one of those things that as an experiment, I tried everything new. I'd never done any of these things in any other beer before, so it's great to get your feedback. One of the things I did is I cold steeped all of my dark grains.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Like a
it
Baltic
probably
porter kind of thing?
reduced the roast character. Maybe it reduced it too much, too.
So you just cold steeped them and added them after you finished boiling?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't like that ashy characteristic in stouts anyway, so I personally think it's fine. But, I don't have any taste.
A little of that works pretty well, I think. I mean, cold steeping can get really good. You can get a very nice character out of it, but sometimes it's hard to get it all out. Mm-hmm. You kind of have to sparge through that stuff and rinse it all out, or... I've done that several times with kind of mixed results. Sometimes I get a beer that just didn't have enough. And sometimes I'll just think I'm just not getting enough. The kettle's not dark enough. I'll just throw it in the mash tun and sparge it. At that point, it's getting all this hot water, but it's kind of transient, and who knows what the hell's happening. But I'll usually get more color and flavor out of it that way.
What I would do is instead of cold steeping at the end and adding at the end of the boil, if you want to avoid harshness, you don't have to put it in your whole mash and let it sit there and then sparge it through the end. You can just take your dark grains and steep it at the very beginning of your boil, so a hot extract, and then boil it. I mean, the boiling isn't going to change the character, but you're going to extract more of the roasty flavors out of the malt in that hot liquid as opposed to cold. So that's what I would do.
Yeah. I think the other thing you could try is maybe shift your balance and use a higher percentage of chocolate malt as opposed to straight roast. And you'll shift your flavor profile that way.
I mean, there is plenty of dark malt character in there. It's more on the chocolatey side, and I don't know how much of like black malts did you have in there? Like black Pat?
So I used
just run
6%.
I'll
run through the whole grain. I'll run through the whole grain bill.
Whatever you got.
That'd be great.
53% pale 2-row, 8% oats. I actually 22%. Was pale extract because I was brewing a double batch and I was trying to get the starting gravity up. And then the cold roasted malts, I had 6% chocolate, 4.5% roasted barley, 3% Carafa 2, and 2.5% Crystal 120.
Yeah, it's substantial enough there.
What do you think? Pretty good?
Yeah, good. I mean, if it didn't have that pepper flavor, I'd probably have scored this several points higher. I actually really like it, but that was just kind of a bad off-putting thing for me.
Well, that's good to know. This is the first time I've worked with coffee, so that's a great thing to know for the future.
Yeah, and the other thing, I mean, this is just a suggestion. Since so many of the flavors in here are kind of subtle, the bourbon, the wood, the maple, none of them are big, punchy in the face flavors, but the coffee is. If you want to redo this, maybe actually, other than just changing how you handle it, reduce the coffee a bit. Make it sort of just a co-note with those other things. It's something to think about.
Well, actually, I think if I took the coffee out of the boil, I think that might have done it.
Yeah, you may be going overboard with the coffee, like the cold press, maybe a double strength cold press. Because I guess thinking about it now, as it sits in my face, it's coffee heavy. It might be too coffee heavy.
You should have tasted it 3 months ago.
I can imagine.
Can fade. It is a bit heavy, but it's a lot less heavy than most coffee beers.
Oh, for sure.
A lot of them are just like, why did you do that? That's too much.
Yeah, it's way too much.
And here it's just kind of dominant, but it's actually kind of pleasant. With a lot of coffee beers I don't like because they're just too much.
Well, I think those nibs help out a lot. I think they help balance that acidity of the coffee in general and kind of...
Yeah, they better. Those nibs are expensive.
Yeah.
So the nibs I soaked in vodka and then just put the whole thing, the vodka and the nibs in a bag.
And then you drank the vodka, put the nibs in the kettle, right?
No, I put the vodka nibs in the coffee, and all in the beer.
All right.
Well, awesome, man. Thank you very much.
One thing I wanted to say too.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
I think that the creaminess that I got in the mouthfeel did, those oats did give it a nice creamy impression. So I would keep those in. That's at a good level there.
And I should probably just commit to calling it an oatmeal stout.
Yes.
Yeah.
Commit to something. Yeah.
It's just a beer.
See, there you go.
You don't have to pay alimony.
It's just a beer. There's no alimony here.
Yeah, that's true. Do you have any more questions for the guys, or that's pretty much...
that answers everything. Thanks a lot, guys.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, thanks again, man, for bringing your beer and coming in and all that kind of stuff. We're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk to Peter Munoz about this wonderful peach sour beer. Back after this.
Craft beer and kick-ass music. This is the year to attend the 20th Annual Mammoth Festival of Beers and Bluesapalooza in beautiful Mammoth Lakes, California. Enjoy more than 80 breweries like Mammoth Brewing, Anchor, Fireman's, Bear Republic, Anderson Valley, Stone, Green Flash, Firestone Walker, Sierra Nevada, Lagunitas, The Chutes, and many, many more. On stage, you'll hear Trombone Shorty and Orleans Avenue, Johnny Lang, Robert Cray, Robin Ford, Ruthie Foster, Carolyn Wonderland, Tommy Castro and the Painkillers, the Sly Brothers, and much more. It's the most incredible lineup ever to take a Mammoth stage. Don't miss the 20th Annual Mammoth Festival of Beers and Bluesapalooza, Thursday, July 30th through Sunday, August 2nd. Tickets and more information at MammothBluesBrewsFest.com or call 888-825-5484. Tickets for some events will sell out early. Get yours at MammothBluesBrewsFest.com or call 888-825-5484 today. Do you know the three most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star San, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today. High Gravity Homebrewing Supplies wants you to keep it simple. Brewing should be fun. And with High Gravity's amazing electric brewing systems, it is. High Gravity keeps their brewing systems simple, on purpose. More efficient than gas, customizable, and with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 vessels, High Gravity's electric brewing systems will completely change the way you brew beer, formulate recipes, and improve your beer's consistency. Dave at High High Gravity can customize your system to fit your needs. High Gravity invites you to visit their Build Your Own Brewery page and see how easy it can be to brew electric. And High Gravity offers $7.99 flat rate shipping on most of their products. www.highdgravitybrew.com. High Gravity. Keep it electric. Keep it simple. Visit highdgravitybrew.com. Admitted. Homebrewing is not always free of frustrations. Years ago, brothers Bill and Jim Mitchell decided to minimize those frustrations and create an entirely new brewing process and a brand new kitchen appliance, the Pico Brew Zymatic. The Zymatic sits on your kitchen counter and connects to the internet via Wi-Fi. It comes with access to a huge recipe library full of award-winning beers and can brew your next batch at the push of a button. Improve repeatability and refine your recipes with the Pico Brew Zymatic. With minimal cleaning and hassle, the Zymatic enables anyone to brew craft beer in the comfort of their own kitchen. Just add your ingredients and the process of homebrewing becomes simplified and automatic, allowing you to focus on what really matters while you brew. At Pico Brew, they believe everyone should be able to enjoy the art of homebrewing and make their own damn good craft beer. See the Zymatic in action today at picobrew.com. Three-time Ninkasi Award winner and Grandmaster Judge Gordon Strong invites you on a guided journey of what's new in the world of homebrewing. Modern homebrew recipes, exploring styles, and contemporary techniques available now from Brewers Publications. Gordon brings you specific advice and sensory profiles for as-brewed, award-winning beers with delicious variations to get your creative juices flowing. This is more than just a book of recipes. It sets brewers on the path to discovering what's new in the world of homebrewing. AHA Director Gary Glass says, if you want to enter competitions or just learn more about styles that you might not have experience with, this book is going to help you tremendously. By emulating what Gordon does, you're going to make better beer. Modern homebrew recipes, exploring styles, and contemporary techniques by Gordon Strong. Available right now from brewerspublications.com and find brewing retailers near you.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us. We're on the back end of this thing. Yeah. It's 6:30 in the morning, according to Peter. He has no idea where we are.
We've gone up. We're coming down.
For sure. Peter.
Yes.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing awesome.
Thanks. Tell me about this beer.
Okay, so this beer is I actually started it on New Year's Eve. Mm-hmm. Actually, day after. We had a little get together with some friends, and of course, had some sour beers. And of those, the sour beers we had, I kept the dregs of a Cantillon and a Russian River. I don't recall which Russian River it was, but it was one of their Brett beers. And,
one of the good ones?
One of the good ones. It tasted good. Okay. It was clean. And same thing with the Cantillon was actually fairly fresh. And so what I did is I took the...
a fresh lambic?
As fresh as you can get. And took it home, or took the dregs home, poured it into a about 100 milliliter starter, and slowly grew that up over about a month. And then added that to I think the starting gravity was about 1050 wheat pale malt. Your 60-40 blend, nothing really fancy.
Just a standard lambic.
Standard wheat beer.
Wheat beer, okay.
With pretty similar to what you do for lambic.
Yeah, what you would for a lambic.
Without the funky mashing.
Okay.
About 5 IBUs, just whatever hops I had at the time. And of course I added the culture I was growing. And after probably about 3 months, the crowding had died away. It was good to go. Tasted it. It was just a straight lactic sour. That's what I got out of it.
Okay, so you didn't have any ale yeast or anything?
No,
it's
nothing.
Just the straight culture.
Just the culture.
And did it form the pellicle, or did it krausen?
No, it had like a really creamy krausen.
Huh.
Not like your standard bubbly type. It was just more like a thick meringue Krausen.
Okay. Like a cross between a Krausen and a pellicle, kind of, maybe.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. But it dropped. So, and at that time, I had another Belgian blonde going. We had 10 gallons of that. So, of course, as I was transferring things around, I split 5 gallons into 2 carboys, and then I racked what I had from that sour onto that. And in one of the carboys, I added 3 pounds of peach puree that I had purchased at a local homebrew shop in Dublin, California.
Called Hop Tech.
Called Hop Tech.
There you go.
And that's
just peach puree. That's it.
Just peach puree. It sat on the peaches for about 3 months, and I racked it into a keg last week.
And this is it.
This is it.
It tastes great, man.
So this is actually. So I started this.
The aroma smells like peach skin, if that makes sense to anybody at all.
It
doesn't smell like a peach juice or whatever, but like the skin of a peach, which I find rather pleasant, actually.
And like I said, I started this in January, and we're in July, and I don't think it has the complexity of a traditional, lambic or some of the other commercial sours, but it's pleasant. It's nice and tart. It has plenty of peach flavor. And I actually have another 5 gallons of the straight lambic. I'm not quite sure what to do with it yet.
You're not sure this has guys, what do you think? Is Peter high?
I think I am.
That's a separate question.
Late.
Is he high or is he right?
I don't know. To me, I thought they were the same question. But
he doesn't look that high.
No,
well, it's hard to tell.
Tired.
He feels
He's tired. Yeah,
it's been a long day.
I would say
is he right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. This is a very pleasant sour.
Yeah.
I would kind of call it, along the lines of what he's saying, kind of a simple sour. It doesn't have a lot of Brett. It's got maybe a touch of some woolly animal Brett character, but not much.
Okay.
It's mostly the peach, and you were right on in what you said about being kind of as much the peach rind, kind of a peach fuzz flavor, as anything about the flesh of the fruit.
It smells
It's got
great.
a pretty clean lactic sour. It's very nice. It's kind of... it's halfway between a lambic and a Berliner Weiss, so it just doesn't have that kind of complexity that you would get in a real goose or lambic, or what I'd expect.
No, I would get that Brett complexity from just age.
Maybe.
Or adding some more other type of simple starches to continue the process.
Yeah, you might get more of it over time.
And but I had intended on bringing this to a possible event in September, but I'm not quite sure yet.
Okay.
And that was actually why I brought it, because there's an event happening I wanted to go to.
One that isn't NCHF.
One that isn't NCHF. And I heard it's gonna be okay.
It's talking about my wedding, everybody.
Yes, your wedding. His wedding. I wanted to bring something nice.
You're the culprit.
I'm the jerk.
But I wanted to bring something nice to your wedding, that you would actually enjoy.
No.
And I was hoping if you did enjoy this, I was going to bring it. If not, I was probably going to...
just bring money. I like drinking money.
No, I'd bring this beer. JP was very enthusiastic over this.
I like it. I think it's great.
Okay, cool. I'll bring it
in. And it'll match with the beer I'm blending at the Rare Barrel. So, you know... We can do a side-by-side and see which one's better.
No, it's a good beer. I gave it a 25.
25?
No.
And actually, when
Peter was going to...
Good enough for JP.
He was going to take that 25 like a fucking champ. He was going to take it like a man.
Hey, I'm going to get some grog tag out of this.
At least that's something. No, I think I gave it like a 35. I thought it was pretty good. Simple, but very pleasant. Very, very nice drinking beer.
I mean, actually, last time I judged... thinking back to the notes that I had of what I was judging, I mean, this was right in there.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, mine wasn't ready to go. But when I finally started tasting it, it was, wow, I think it's coming along nicely. And
definitely.
It was not as funky or as didn't have the baby diaper or the... And I was actually okay with that. It's not as complex.
Well, you need to have this ready too quick to go through that whole PDO thing. That can take a year or two to work out, and that's not going to make it for this fall September event.
I think in 2 months.
It might be in transition. I'm not quite
sure. If
it
goes there, you might be in trouble. Yeah, it's a little sweet, but that'll dry out over time. It might be worth bottling a half case of this. It might make a great lasting gift They could be open on anniversaries down the road or so. Yeah.
Or when he's at the hospital delivering his baby.
Shut up. That is so rude. I would never do
most
that.
Of your friends would rather have this passed out than a cigar.
Yeah,
God.
I think it'd be awesome.
Forget that. If that
baby beer.
If that happens, I'm passing out the baby.
I'll take it.
Okay.
We'll raise it.
Yeah? Little white ones.
Sorry, Carolyn.
Here you go.
Farm it along with the rest of them.
The things I find about this beer is in the aroma, it's just a bright lactic sour aroma, and a medium peach hiding under that, and it does have a little bit of a kind of a grainy impression and a little bit of kind of yeastiness to it. It just smells a little young and not unfinished, but like something that needs to age a little bit more. So, and in the flavor, again, sharp, bright, fruity. It's got citrus fruit in it, so it's got like kind of a citric acid impression along with the lactic. There's no real acetic or Brett character coming through. It is kind of simple, but it's really enjoyable to drink. So, it's fresh tasting, but it's still sour enough where you give this to me. Yeah, it's a sour. It's at the right level of acidity. It could go a little more sour than this and get a little happier in a couple months, and then I'll be kicking myself for not being invited to JP's wedding.
Look, you guys can come if you want, all right?
Okay.
I figure you're going to be homebrewing up at NCHF or whatever.
We have to skip NCHF to do it.
Now, right now, I have this in cold storage, or in my kegerator.
Okay.
Would it be better if I pulled it out and just let it sit warm? Because it does get pretty warm in the valley.
Yeah. It's in a keg, though,
it's
right?
It's in a keg, yes.
So, yeah.
I'm not worried about it getting contaminated from outside.
Yeah.
And it is under CO2.
Form another pellicle in there and get, you might haze it up a little more or something, too. I don't know. I tend to, once I keg a sour, just leave it in the kegerator myself. But I think
that was actually my only question.
Yeah.
Is should I leave it in there or pull it out and let it warm condition?
So I mean, if you could store this between like 50 and 60, maybe 65, I think that might be a good idea. Give it a little time to develop, a little more complexity. It'd probably chip away at some of the sugar. Not that it's that sweet, but it would dry it out a bit. If you're talking daytime Central Valley temperatures, your garage,
yes.
No way. You toast this. You toast this like a bug on a windshield.
I'm really better off just leaving
90
it where
degrees,
it's at.
104, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, either put it in a good fermentation chamber if you have one with room for something else, or just leave it in the fridge. It should be fine. It'll improve.
I got space for it if you need it.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Keep it nice and cool.
I got plenty of room.
Lee's got lots of 50 degrees space in his house there.
Yeah, in 6 months, people are like, hey, can I get that beer?
Yeah. I mean, don't give me a tap line. I can't tap it.
I just
might have lost.
I think also
I have this
there
empty
was
one.
this heat wave and it turned, so I
heat
started
wave
it
in
for you.
Alameda.
Yes.
I got trapped in my closet. I couldn't get out, and I had to drink something.
That's the other show, JP.
One thing you could do is open up your keg and throw a little bit of oak in there. That might help give it a little complexity.
Yeah.
And I thought it had a tiny hint of like a little bit of solvent. It's not harsh, but it's just a little bit of like that kind of solventy note. Not bad at all, but just like higher alcohol solvents. And I think the wood can kind of help, get rid of some of that too. And
I have a barrel you can put it in over at my
make it taste mapley and
stout like, yes.
Ooh, maple peach, yeah.
Sit around on those nibs that are still in there. Yeah. No, but yeah, it's good as it is. I can drink it just like this, or you could play with it a little bit, but I wouldn't go too far. I wouldn't go too crazy.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Tiny bit of oak or maybe warm conditioning for a little bit, but.
Well, thanks, Peter. I'm glad you brought this. It was a totally unexpected thing, but it tasted good, and for me, and probably most other homebrewers, it's tough to figure out how to do that. But it sounds like it was relatively simple.
Yes,
really.
And again, I've watched on other forums, especially all the sour forums, and I see these big pellicles forming, and I never got that.
And so you don't need to get that necessarily.
I don't
apparently,
think so.
Right?
I had it, of course, had an airlock on it. I made sure I did topped up. I have it out of the sunlight, so it's not getting in a nice, fairly moderate temperature. And it never developed a major pellicle or anything. And I don't know why. I'm okay with it.
Right.
But and again, once I tasted it and what I was looking and I think the pellicle forms mostly when there's oxygen present. And I did make sure every time I opened it, I purged with a little bit of CO2 to try to keep that as low as possible.
Okay.
And so just very little oxygen content.
It's also possible that whatever came out of those bottle drags may or may not have had very much active PDO in it when you grew it up.
At one point, when the starter was going, it did become ropey.
In the starter itself.
In the starter.
So there was some in there. Okay.
So there is some.
Well, you let this stuff sit at the right temperature for a year, you might get that pellicle.
And that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping
in time
it does.
for fall.
Yeah, by fall, I'm assuming. Yeah. 9 months.
You're a piece of shit, Peter.
Give him enough rope.
All right. You know what? That's it, Peter. You're out of here. We're out of here. We're both out of here.
The other funny thing is, though, here at the Hop Grenade, they're also pouring the New Belgium Eric's Ale.
Oh,
which is a sour peach ale. So we're doing it kind of side by side with this here, and it's kind of fun. I'm enjoying Peter's beer here.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Who wins, though?
That's a good question.
Who wins?
Who wins?
And who loses?
I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to let Lee do it because you don't understand.
All right. Well,
still figuring this out after 2 years.
It's all math thing. It's weird.
I scored the sour with peaches higher and the multiplex stout a little bit lower.
Okay, so then that means, Ernie, you win the Grog Tag $40 At Least Your Beer Will Look Good gift certificate. Both of our in-studio people have done that. And yes, that's correct. And then, Peter, that means you get the lovely gift from High Gravity Homebrew.
All right.
You go to highdgravitybrew.com and check out what they have, ingredient kits, equipment, all that kind of stuff. They are actually a great source for all those electric brewing system stuff that you guys have been seeing online. So anyway, check them out. And thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody, for coming in. And Brian and Lee, thank you very much as well.
We suck.
That's right.
Speak for yourself.
Don't forget to check out our other shows like The Session, of course, and Brew Strong, and all those other fun things that nobody really knows about. Oops, I lost my music. Anyway, next time, until next time, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
No, we're awesome. I changed my mind.